This is the FG-1D Corsair Skyboss that flew out of the American Air Power Museum in New York and flew the air show circuit for many, many years until she was sold within the last couple of years, and her livery was changed to a different livery. She's all electric except for the engine. And we're going to do a start before the maiden to check all of her systems, and the engine, of course, which is a Moki 257 7-cylinder pumped engine. Now, I had a few comments on the last video about why pump an engine, and the simplest way I can say it is that when you pump an engine like the Moki, you supply a constant pressure to the carburetor, so the engine itself, regardless of whether it's idling or whether it's at full power, does not have to suck fuel from the tank. The fuel is there waiting for it to open its mouth. That's the simplest way I can say it, and it improves the mid-range and transition and needle settings just incredibly, as opposed to one that is not pumped. The other aspect was how I start it, and I start it the way I do so that the engine tells me when it's ready to go, instead of me loading the engine with fuel, sticking my hand on the prop, and hoping for the best. So you will hear it tell me when it's got fuel in the intakes, and then after it has blown that fuel out, I'll flip it a couple more times and you'll get to see just why I start it the way I start it, rather than loading it up with fuel and propping it once or twice and letting it light. Okay, well, let's get on with it. First of all, I need to get my glove. I've got a glove on now. This is just a motorcycle glove with a little extra padding on the fingers. And this is all Jeti, by the way. And I'll try and take some shots of the transmitter as I'm doing different things, and I'll try and talk you through actually the starting procedure. I will flex the wings, bring them down, bring them up, and just give it an overall check to make sure everything is right before I take it to the field and do taxi tests with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and fire up the transmitter.
Stall speed warning at 45 miles per hour. Hello, Rick. Your transmitter is active.
FG-1D Corsair is loaded.
Okay, let's give it power.
Avionics on. Switch on. Receivers bound. Receivers bound. Initialized.
Okay. And we've got full functionality. The engine is at idle. I'll bring it off the idle just about two clicks for the choking. Okay. Turn the fuel pump on.
Fuel pump on.
I can hear it. Choke goes on.
Full choke on.
Then ignition.
Contact. Ignition hot. Max to both. Tag time running. Telemetry is alive.
Okay, let's just bring some fuel up into the intakes, okay? All right, it just told me it's got fuel into the intakes. The next, it just blew a little out, but I'll take the choke off.
Choke off.
And then the next series of flips, she'll start. And I'll bring the idle down just a little. That is why I do what I do. She's idling at about 1,000 RPM right now. We'll let it warm up. That engine needs about a minute to warm up. Okay, wings coming down.
Warning. Wings coming down. Warning. Wings folding.
Fuel pump goes off first, then the ignition.
Ignition. Off. Avionics. Off. Switched off.
And that, I think she's ready to go. We'll take it out and do some taxi tests with it, make sure she's tracking like she should, and there's no other issues, but the engine was strong. That was 3,700 RPM. You should never let these engines go over 4,000. And never use an electric starter on the front end of these things. It is not good for the engine, not good for the prop bolts, stuff like that. You saw that it started extremely easily. It started at 1,000 RPM, which was nothing, and a 3-blade prop, no problem. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you at the field.